When it comes to performance, could this finally be the moment where Google proves the competition wrong when it comes to the performance and optimization available on hand with their latest flagship? Well, let's find out with this super speed test between the Pixel 9 Pro XL, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S24 Ultra in our super speed test. Let's get into it. For the specs and performance, starting with the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, my model is powered by the Tensor G4 and it is using 16GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. My model of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is powered by Apple's A17 Pro chipset with 8GB of RAM and 512GB of NVMe based storage. My model of the Galaxy S24 Ultra is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 4 Galaxy chipset with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS 4.0 storage. A quick public service announcement reminder that we are running a giveaway on the Pixel 9 Pro XL up until the 25th of September 2024. Full details of the giveaway is in the battery drain test video of the Pixel 9 Pro XL, so check it out in the link in the description below, the cards above, and in the end cards of this video. Okay, let's kick things off with the super speed test between the Pixel 9 Pro XL, iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. First, going through the social media applications first, so we can see that the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the iPhone 15 Pro Max are pretty much blitzing ahead, neck and neck. The iPhone goes slightly ahead, but the Pixel's not far behind it, and the S24 Ultra right there as well. When we get to Disney Plus, we're pretty much all the same right now on this particular application, but we are going to see that the Pixel 9 Pro now actually goes ahead. And then moving over to BBC iPlayer, we can still see that the Pixel 9 Pro XL is still the one going ahead right now onto YouTube Music and to the Subway Surface for the bigger games to load. And actually, in fact, this is where the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra pretty much claw it back in and look like they are getting ahead of the game before we actually move over to the last game, which is flip diving, and then the major deciding part, which tends to be video exporting. And now we switch over to LumaFusion for this particular test. We can see that the iPhone is ahead, and then moving over to flip diving, the iPhone is actually still slightly ahead of the two. Loaded up the game quickest and now into video exporting on LumaFusion. And the iPhone actually has a slight advantage where it has one less step to press before it starts exporting, and I calculated it where it's somewhere between 0.45 milliseconds to 1 second's difference compared to the Android phones where they do need to actually press it one more step. Now, as we're actually exporting through this, we can pretty much see that things are going to actually be very interesting. And of course, if our super speed test is heavily inspired by a guy over at phonebuff.com, David Rahimi, but with our twist, this is round one. We've got round two, and potentially there might be a bonus round for this speed test for you to actually see why we have these different variations. And it all depends on what you're actually going to see happen here in round one. Now, as we're pretty much blitzing through, we can really see that the Pixel 9 Pro XL is really well optimized. This is a heavy 4K file from the Lumix S9, and that is actually in 4010-bit color, 72 megabits per second. So it's a high quality file from a full frame camera that we're using here. So as we're pretty much getting through, I'm calculating this with the video export that the Pixel 9 Pro XL did it in 1 minute, 6 seconds and 2 milliseconds. And then lap one time that we've got here is 2 minutes, 22 seconds and 63 milliseconds. But will it keep it all in RAM? And it looks like so far it's blitzing through. Subway Surface is good. YouTube Music, BBC iPlayer. Now we see that the Galaxy S24 has completed it, and it did the export in 1 minute, 18 seconds and 24 milliseconds. Lap one that it has there is 2 minutes, 35 and 42 milliseconds, but it's actually tripped up at Temple Run. Whoa, this is interesting. And then the Pixel 9 Pro XL has done it, lap two, and it's done that in 25 seconds and 88 milliseconds, a total time of 2 minutes, 48 and 51 milliseconds. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is now done, and it actually did the export in 1 minute, 45 seconds and 49 milliseconds. Lap one time that you have there is 3 minutes and also 80 milliseconds. As we're going through right now, things are really heart racing because The iPhone 15 Pro Max is just about to catch the Galaxy S24 Ultra. It's going to catch it and beat it for lap 2 for the total finishing time. My heart was pumping here, and boy, oh boy, it was not far off at all. It did come in third place by the slimmest of margins with a finishing time of 3 minutes, 27 seconds and 38 milliseconds compared to what you actually have here with the Galaxy S24 Ultra with a finishing time of 3 minutes, 26 seconds and 58 milliseconds. It just about beat it within the slightest margins. Phew. Yeah, I definitely needed to check my heart rate after that tight race, and no doubt, this is where having a smart ring definitely helps, because if you're like me where you struggle with watches in general, let alone smartwatches, to help with your daily health tracking, then a smart ring is the way to go. I've been using the Ultra Human Ring Air, which has been a great companion for tracking my sleep, heart rate, movement, and even stress levels, amongst other features on a daily basis to help me better understand my health patterns and how to optimize them. Check the link in the description and use my discount code to get yourself a Ring Air from Ultra Human. And thank you to Ultra Human for supporting a portion of this video as an affiliate partner. Round 2, and for round 1, this was actually without RAM Plus enabled on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. This time round, we've enabled RAM Plus at a maximum 8 GB of virtual memory to help it, to see if it will make a difference to keeping these heavy applications in memory for lap 2. So as we're pretty much going through it, this should be a very interesting one to see as we blitz through it. So with the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, these are the fastest ones that we've got. There is no RAM Plus feature to enable or disable, but it does look like the extra RAM now on the Pixel 9 Pro XL really is helping it here. So let's see the difference of RAM Plus to the overall performance and seeing if it keeps it in memory. Now, as we're getting through to the bigger apps, we're on Subway Surface, and it looks like pretty much it is making a better difference for the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, as we're going through, the real difference maker is going to be lap 2. And that's where we really need to see the difference that RAM Plus hopefully should make to keeping things in memory using some of the internal storage of the phone as virtual memory as we're going through. Now, we've pretty much gotten into flip diving for the last application. And of course, the iPhone is pretty much ready to start the video exporting test next to the Pixel 9 Pro XL. We know the scores of the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. These are the fastest ones, just like before. It's really the Galaxy S24 Ultra that we're paying attention to see how much of a difference RAM Plus will make to keeping things in memory, especially with the heavier apps for lap number 2. Now, of course, if you appreciate the effort that we actually put into doing these different variations of our super speed tests, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future speed tests on the Lover of Tech channel. Of course, road to 100k subscribers for this year or no later than mid 2025, but let's try and do it this year. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but with your support, it is going to be possible and absolutely worth it. We might actually have a bonus round. I'm going to explain why we're going to have a bonus round and pretty much lay it down. But in this case, it looks like the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the optimization is really there for the performance, and it's a good look as well as having smooth animations. Now, it's really still the Galaxy S24 Ultra that we're paying attention to for RAM Plus here. So as it's rounding up, the export for the video is pretty much going to do it in 1 minute, 13 seconds and 54 milliseconds. So that is about 6 seconds quicker than previously that we did without RAM Plus on. So it's helping with the export a little bit, but let's pay attention to the RAM management. Yes, flip diving is there. Temple Run is there. You've got Subway Surfers, which is also there, which is great to see. YouTube Music is fine. BBC iPlayer is good. Prime Video is also good. And then Disney Plus, YouTube is looking good. Snapchat is also good. Threads, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, slight load, wrapping it up. And we can see the improvement there to the finishing time. And it's actually way ahead of what we're seeing on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So the difference for RAM Plus in terms of performance, as well as actually keeping heavy apps in memory, is huge. It's huge. It's a huge difference maker. So if you're in doubt about the benefits of RAM Plus for the Galaxy devices, put it on, especially for your flagship. One final bonus round for this super speed test, and the thing we've changed around is the video editing export app. We've gone back to the unoptimized Adobe Premiere Rush, and I want to actually showcase this for a reason, because the difference it makes in terms of obviously what you have for compatibility, optimization on whichever platform and chipset is huge, and that can be a major deciding factor on things working or not. And we're pretty much going to see it here as we go through. Going through the normal motion, you can see that all is pretty much as predictable as you saw from before with the previous 14 apps before we get to Adobe Premiere Pro Rush. And we know it's got a reputation not being well optimized and compatible across the board, but where is that going to be the case? Is that going to show up on Tensor? Is it going to show up on Apple's A17 Pro platform or the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3? Which one will actually deal with a very unoptimized video exporting and video editing app for mobile best in this particular situation? And it's really just to put people out there and see that, hey, if you are using this app for whatever reason, you really have to consider the optimization and how well it works. And also, if you are considering it, maybe look elsewhere in terms of video editing. Now we've started the export on all three. The Pixel 9 Pro XL was actually first one to get to the export, and last to get to the export was the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But as we're blitzing through it, we can pretty much see that the advantage is pretty much on Apple and Samsung side when it comes to Apple's chipset platform and Snapdragon. So this is something that is going to pretty much work against Tensor, because if you look at it, it's not shifting at all. And this is a 1 minute 30 second clip of that original file, so it should be a lesser workload compared to the 3-minute file that we're actually using on LumaFusion. So that pretty much tells you what you need to know. And in fact, when it comes to the video exporting, the iPhone did it in 51 seconds, while the Galaxy S24 Ultra did it in 53 seconds. But you can actually notice that the Galaxy S24 Ultra was ahead overall in general, because first lap time is 2 minutes and 13 seconds on the dot. And first lap time for the iPhone is 2 minutes, 16 seconds, 82 milliseconds. And you can see everything being kept in memory on the S24 Ultra, because we have enabled RAM Plus with the additional 8 gigabytes. It actually claws ahead. So it stays there, keeps everything in memory, whereas the Pixel 9 Pro XL is still hanging there and not shifting at all. A few percentage maybe. So you can see the total finishing time for the Galaxy S24 Ultra is 2 minutes 40 seconds and 22 milliseconds, and slightly 2 seconds behind is the iPhone at 2 minutes 42 seconds and 61 milliseconds. And in fact, with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, we had to speed up the footage because it was taking so long. I waited an extra 10 minutes and 20 seconds. I had to cancel the export and pretty much speed it up because it looked like it's just not compatible and optimized for Adobe Premiere Rush at all. So something to heavily consider. So your definitive winner for our updated super speed test using LumaFusion as the video exporting application is the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Wow, the optimization on the Tensor G4 platform with the Android Pixel Experience software and the extra 16 gigabytes of RAM that we're actually now working with in total has made a huge difference and a country mile win against the competition. Now, of course, we did showcase how unoptimized Adobe Premiere Rush would be. That was not to make the Pixel 9 Pro XL look bad, but it was more just to consider. It's really down to the app compatibility across the board, and it's probably saying a lot more for Adobe than anything. But definitely an application like LumaFusion that is optimized across the board and it's just a one-time paid application, yeah, that's really where you want to actually be using it. But overall, the performance, the animations, and also the RAM management, yeah, this has been a clear win for the Pixel 9 Pro XL. It's a surprise and a good one for sure. Were you equally as surprised and impressed as I was with the Pixel 9 Pro XL's results? Let me know in the comment section below. That's it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. I hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.